This morning I'm going to be fitting the front axle to this new galvanized chassis. The chassis is obviously being painted. I'm going to be using Super Pro polyurethane bushes. The radius arms are already fitted to the axle with new bushes, and we've got some nice new galvanized spring cups in place. The axle has been painted. With the Super Pro bushes, everywhere the polyurethane bush is in contact with metal, you apply this special grease that comes with the bushes. So we'll get some onto each of our parts here. This is where it's in contact with the chassis. So that's the axle ready to be offered to the chassis. Use my faithful old pallet stacker to handle the chassis, an invaluable tool I've discovered in this job. Remove the Guinness keg. Now we can adjust the chassis. One side in, and the other side has gone in too. Excellent. And then I find if I lower the chassis so the angle of the radius arm is flat, then the bush will slide nicely in to the chassis. Yeah. Now, slide him in place. And I've forgotten the big washers. Where are they? Nope. They're somewhere else. Ah, here we are. Grease these up too. Maybe swap these later for some nice new ones, but these will hold it in place in the meantime. Right. So the big M29 lock is tightened with a 30mm socket wrench. And that, because the bush is nicely greased, that will pull in nicely around the chassis. No drama. Same on the other side. With the shallow angle of the radius arm to the chassis, you can see how easily it goes through. If there's a more pronounced angle, then it's just all the more difficult. Note that the chassis bush set, the grooved bush, goes on the body side of the chassis, if you like, as opposed to the axle side. Okay, now you can see the axle's almost down to the bump stop there. That got me the angle I needed to make the job easy. Now I can jack her up. And if I can find my new springs, here we are. So the standard springs are handed. So the slightly taller one goes the driver's side of the vehicle, and that accounts for the extra weight of things like the steering column, power steering box, and on this particular model, the fuel tank. So I need to come down a bit. There you have it. The new chassis is now a rolling chassis. Oh, one mistake. I should have had the turret ring in place before I set it down on the spring. So I will have to jack her up and slot that in before the job is actually complete.